What's good, y'all? Welcome to my channel. My name is Shaquille, where I love talking about marketing, business, self development, productivity, all that good stuff. If you like that kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be trying to put out a video once a week, hopefully 2 times, 3 times per week, really, whenever I get an itch, whenever something comes across my mind that I find valuable. And today I just wanted to talk to the crowd with no experience, potentially no degrees, and what you need to do to find an opportunity within the marketing realm, and just kind of how I approached this problem myself, because I'm somebody who dropped out of college after 1 year, had little to no experience. I had some adjacent experience that I was able to leverage and I guess shift the perspective of what I did in more of a marketing lens to really get my foot in the door. And it took a lot. It took a long time for me to eventually get my foot in the door, let's say. So the job that I started out doing was technically a canvassing job, where I would create material and then go to different places and hand out the flyers. Like, I would put the flyers at a business, people would see the flyers, they would call the number, which who's me. I would run them down on the services, they would go, and I basically got a percentage of whatever they paid. And that's how I got my start in marketing. But that technically was not a marketing position. It wasn't deemed as a marketing position. So I had to take the roles in which I had been a part of and highlight the marketing within those roles to ultimately get my foot in the door. And that job was 2013, and I officially got my foot in the door 2018. So that's 5 years that it took me from a rough kind of marketing position, can't really call it marketing, to a legit full-on 100% marketing position. And I'm just hoping that the information that I can bring to y'all will be beneficial and make that 5 years like a year or 2 years or whatever. You work at your own pace, but these are things that are definitely going to be able to help you if you implement them. Where I would start personally, if you're looking to get into marketing, you have to take your personality into account. So me, I am very analytical. I like data, but I also like creatives as well. And if you want a really good shot of getting your foot in the door, you should go the data route, or the route that is responsible for the most return of an investment, the most ROI, which aspect of marketing brings in the most money. And you want to learn those skills, because then you're a valuable asset. You for sure know you bring in money, and how to bring in money, and how to leverage things within marketing to bring in more money while spending less, essentially. And that's where I decided to start, because it's an invaluable skill, it's an extremely valuable skill. You can't quite put the value on it, because it'll outlast the time that you're at any company, guaranteed. So the first thing I would do is decide where I wanted to start my marketing journey. For me, again, I'm starting in something a little bit more concrete, where the value is directly associated to the things that I do. It gets a little bit more ambiguous when you talk about things like copywriting, project management, SEO, things like that, where there is tons of value in it. I'm not trying to devalue those things, and those things are really awesome to get into. It's just a lot harder to prove your value and how that value ultimately affects the bottom dollar. But regardless, the first thing that you're going to have to do if you have no experience is start learning. You need to just absorb information, as much information as you can. I had like this book called The Ultimate Guide to Google Ads, and I was selling cars at the time, and I would just have that book on me. and I was just reading it, not necessarily to apply anything practical, but to really understand the terminologies, the language that we speak in the marketing realm. If you don't know what an average CPC is, or a CTR, or an LP, these are things that you need to learn to at least be able to have conversations when you're in an interview with somebody talking about marketing. It's something that I learned the hard way, and you'll learn the hard way too if you don't, learn or take the time to really learn and understand these terminologies and basic landscape of marketing. I was able to pretend and get interviews, and I noticed within the interviews that I didn't know what I was talking about because I didn't understand what they were saying to me. And so I would write it down and then I would go study it later. And that's somebody who literally, like I said, I have the ultimate Google Ads book, but you're not going to be able to learn everything. There's going to be a lot of bumps and bruises on the way, and there's no better teacher than experience. But the first wave is trying to understand those technologies, trying to learn as much as you can about the marketing space that you want to go into. Now, there are a few really good resources out there, like the Google Ads Academy. They'll say that it's not valuable, and it will not necessarily make you a better marketer, but it will give you the experience and give you the knowledge base of the extremely basic elements of digital marketing. And what it also does is, from a business aspect, if I am running a Google ad service for our clients, and I have marketers on our team that handles the performance and all that kind of stuff, I cannot become a partner of Google unless they are certified under the Google Ads Academy. So that gives you a little bit of credibility, and it gives you a boost when you're out there looking for jobs if they need people on the team with certifications. It's one less hurdle that you have to go through. A lot of jobs will just make you take the test at some point during your employment, but it's a nice bargaining chip to show that you know what you're talking about and that you've went through this course without having to be prompted to do it, and that goes a long way. Another great resource is the HubSpot Academy. Now, this is a wider range if you're not like looking to get into Google Ads or anything like that, where it talks about like inbound marketing methodologies and just kind of the thoughts behind inbound marketing, account-based marketing, different various aspects of marketing in which you can start your career. You can get a good idea of the wide range of services that are out there. They also have certifications as well. Another great feather in the cap if you want to bolster your resume. YouTube is also obviously a great resource. You could just type in Google Ads space and then go through the alphabet to see the different aspects of Google Ads out there, the different searches that are being made. And really, to me, it's the new college. It's really where I learn a bulk of what I learn. And something to really realize when you're in marketing is the environment's changing so much that you really have to become a master of learning, because there's things that come up that I don't know how to do, but I can figure out how to do it, usually through YouTube. Udemy is also a great resource. I recently took a B2B CRO course there, and it changed the whole way that I look at the conversion process and how to optimize towards user behavior. And these are extremely valuable resources, extremely valuable certifications to have that bolster you not having any experience, because what it does is show that you're interested in learning about these things, that you have some kind of base, even though you have no tangible experience. You have went out your way to learn more about the marketing aspects in which companies are looking to fill roles with. And to go into the next aspect, so that's the first aspect, where you need to start learning and know your terminologies. That's when you're on YouTube, looking up different videos about digital marketing, let's say project management, or in HubSpot Academy, learning about different workflows and sequences, or paid for a Udemy course. You've already hit these. Now, what's kind of the next level to get you a step further in the process? That would be to create materials, tangible materials to show that you understand what you're talking about. This can be, you can do a ton here. What I did, one of the things that I did was I had like visual creatives because I didn't know where I wanted to go. I didn't know that it was exactly the Google ad side, but I knew I wanted to be able to understand a good portion of marketing. So I created visuals, literally like infographics and stuff like that, and put that in part of this folder that I would carry around and I would hand to different agencies. It would have my resume in it, visual creatives, like just little short writings that I did just because I needed to sell myself. I needed to get over the top, so to speak. And I just would not accept the status quo because I know people looked at my resume and they were like, no, not doing this, and it sold me short. So you have to go above and beyond to really get your foot in the door when you have no experience. What you could do is build out a campaign. Let's say you're doing Google ads or even social media. At that point, you can highlight what you want the campaign to be about. Let's say you do Google ads. Let's just keep it simple. You could select different keywords. You could do your keyword research. So Google ads, you can create a free account. You could go into the keyword planner and then you can search up keywords and it'll show you the volume, the amount that it costs per click. You can build out a campaign showing that you understand the keywords, the volume, and how much it costs to bid on these things. You can write out the ad copy. So if you don't really know, what you do is go to Google, search a service, and then the top 3 ads, those are what your ads will look like. So you can mimic that. You can Google how many characters or what's the requirements of Google ads, and it'll give you the required characters for the headline, the description, and all that kind of stuff. And there's tons of resources out there to make this easier for you, but you can put that in a document, in an Excel file, and have that be a part of your resume or a part of your featured section on your LinkedIn, so to speak. And this is one that I started applying when I was getting really serious, is provide recommendations to improve the efforts of the place that you're applying. So what I did was, I'm not even going to give them shine. I was so close to doing it, but they didn't hire me, so they're not getting the shine. But anyways, I created a campaign for them. I highlighted all the inefficiencies, not much, because too much negative information is bad, but I highlighted a few inefficiencies on their website in which they can improve. And I ended up getting the interview literally the next day. They didn't end up going my way because I was still a bit premature. But if I wasn't premature and I had all the knowledge base that I do today, that would have been a home run for me. I would have had that job the next day just by recommending things that they can do to improve their efforts, whether it be on their physical website on a certain landing page, or whether it be creating an ad campaign that you think would benefit a service or product that they have. It goes a long way. You just never know. So you have your materials, you started learning, you know the terminologies. Now it's time to really start networking. Start meeting people. I think LinkedIn is an extremely undervalued tool. I get job offers every week on LinkedIn. It is 2022. I officially got my foot in the door in 2018. I'll never, as long as LinkedIn's around, I can safely say I'll never apply for a job again. You have recruiters reaching out to you when you can create the right kind of LinkedIn profile and I'll definitely create a video that's a beginner's guide on starting a LinkedIn account and what you can do to really bolster it. We talked about creating materials. There's sections within LinkedIn where you can put these materials. This is where you can expand on your desire to get into the marketing field, which is the next point, which is just be honest. People understand. There's people understand that just because you don't have the experience doesn't mean you can't gain the experience fast within an industry that you're interested in. People will give you a chance, but there's less of a chance that they'll give if you pretend like you know everything and you don't. So just be honest. Hey, I'm looking to get my foot into the marketing door, and I've been doing this, that, and the fourth to really expand my knowledge. I've created this campaign, these materials. I have this Google Ads certification, Google Analytics certifications, HubSpot marketing software certification. I have all these certifications to show you that I can and will, and I'm going to continue with, whether you hire me or not, I'm going to continue to learn and get better within this space. I think it'd be extremely advantageous for that to be with your company, especially with what you're asking for out of this entry level position. I definitely can cover all of this, or I can learn to cover all of this within the initial learning period or the initial hiring period of your company, which for most is like 3 months or something like that. So LinkedIn, undervalued, super undervalued. Then if you're not a LinkedIn person, what I did was I just went door to door. I just literally went door to door, and I just wanted to talk to a manager. I just wanted to talk to a business owner, and then eventually it worked. Eventually somebody gave me a job. Now it wasn't a marketing job, but it was that ambiguous, yeah, if you bring customers into me and they can prove that it came from you, I'll give you a percentage of what they pay me. And had I never got that opportunity, who knows if I would have been able to flip that for an actual marketing position. So go door to door, meet different businesses, create lists of businesses that you would want to work for, that you're interested in working for, and then network with people within those companies, go to those companies and meet people. Just be human, just talk about things, ask them questions about marketing in areas that you want to grow and learn more of, and it'll just sprout different ideas of directions that you need to really learn to solidify yourself within this space and really get some traction going with your career. People get you further. People will get you further than knowledge will get you. Knowledge is ultimately ultimately the foundation, the thing that gives you confidence, but people will get you further than the knowledge will. So it's really important that you get out there and you start meeting people, because you had already started doing your learning. You have already built the materials. Just need to get out there. And this is where you need to fail fast, because you're going to fail. You just need to talk to people and risk looking like an idiot, because you're going to. And once you get over looking like an idiot, you'll start looking smarter and smarter and smarter. And then eventually people are going to call you an expert because you just stuck at it. But that expert was an idiot, a fool to them at some point in time. But yeah, if you guys like this, please like the video. It does a ton for the channel. Please subscribe. And I got one more thing for you, one bonus material if you just want to take it over if you just want to take it to the next level. Something that I did. So I did all of this stuff, probably not in this order, but the thing that really changed the game for me was me creating my own personal website. like literally creating my own personal website. There are tons of tools out there in which you could do this. Squarespace, Wix, Webflow. Webflow is a good one. If you really want to show people you know what you're doing, build a site on Webflow. But what this does is it shows that you have a fundamental understanding of digital marketing. You're creating a hub for yourself to display yourself out within the digital landscape. This shows a company that you understand how digital marketing works at a fundamental level. You understand how to create a page, how to create attention, and how to disseminate that information among an audience. It goes a long way. And if you can just do the full thing where you attach it to Google Analytics, where you attach it to Google Search Console, where you're blogging, where you have a portfolio section, where you have all these things to just showcase your skills, it goes so much further than a resume. And you can make it really easy for your recruiters to see this. And how can that, unless it's a terrible website and it's absolutely horrible, even the effort alone merits consideration because it takes some work. It takes a lot of work. But what it does is it makes you stand out. It shows that you understand digital marketing, the digital landscape, and really kind of how the whole internet works, and that you're taking a part of it. If you can start generating traffic through blogging, you're going to have a lot of job offers. And this is what somebody with no experience, but you did all of these things that I just laid out. You have a ton of experience. That's a lot of experience, and you'd be surprised how little people have experience within this field. If you do these 4 things, I guarantee you'll get some traction in finding a marketing opportunity. But just take your time, or not. You know, what works for me is setting the bar extremely low and being consistent. Start learning, know the terminologies, create material, show that you really understand what marketing is and the different aspects of marketing. Network, be honest, fail fast. And if you want to go that extra mile, create a personal website. You'll thank yourself that you did forever. And honestly, you can even pay somebody to do it. But I wouldn't do that. I would just create it yourself. That's what I do. It just makes the knowledge base and the experience go a lot further. You can really understand what an H1 is, what H2, H3. You can understand hero sections and the different elements that make up a website that really influence user behavior. These aren't things to be taken lightly, and things that literally get your career from 0 to 100 real quick, in the words of Drake. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this. This is Shaquille checking out. This is my how to get into marketing with no experience or no degree. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next week.